Greetings folks, there are quite a few unique weapons in Fall of Avalon, and among them there are of course our little Tidepiercer and the Sunsword, both capable of delivering such penetration that they might make you think, wow, I can't believe this is not butter. But do not let your eyes deceive you, believe it or not, this is a fully melee build and scales with melee damage and melee critical chance. So this is exactly why we are going hybrid and scale spell power instead. Amazing stagger, decent self-healing, high damage, and the ability to inflict pain from very far. And you can even play this with a wand if you want to reach absurdly high amount of damage. Like all hybrid builds, this build is gonna be a little weaker in mid-game, but becomes incredibly powerful once we have our core items. In this video, I will go through all the necessary information, gear location, alternative options, attributes and skill tree during leveling, and of course a fully dedicated leveling section which is gonna be spoiler free. So let's not waste more time and let's begin. Okay, let's look at our gear. First of all, the weapon of course, which is gonna be Tidepiercer, a late Act 1 weapon that pretty much does, well, what is advertised. Your heavy attacks will generate a wave that can pierce through enemies, so this is how we. On relics, my high suggestion is gonna be to use an Azure Lichstone, especially if you're in combination with Sunsword, because that one will cost you more mana. And then we want to have a Fist of Strain, because otherwise stamina management is not ideal. For our second weapon, we are gonna use either Sunsword from Act 2, which will give us a bigger AoE size, plus visually it's much more cool than just using Tidepiercer and another weapon, so I still use this one for the late chunk of the game. The alternative, of course, is gonna be to use a Crucible. Crucible will boost your spell power into an insane level. This one comes when you finish Act 2, however. So Crucible is an option. For relics on Crucible, of course, you want to use Celestial Charms to add even further spell power. On Sunsword, Starborn Eggs, Crimson Shard, Otter, Tus Effect Relics, it's all stuff that you can use. For our gloves, this is another core item, cannot be replaced. X-Grip Vambrace, which will enable to go hybrid. With these little gloves, we will get an insane boost of damage by having spell power on, otherwise, well, we will not have the same benefit. If you don't use X-Grip, you will have to go full physical, but that will be a different setup. For chest, we're gonna use Doublet of the Last Jest. This one comes when you finish Act 2 by doing a small crypt. In the leveling section I will show how I got all these items as well, just in case. The coming in penalty doesn't matter because we are building crit, so we're life leech. For amulet, we're gonna use Pendant of the Endless Study. We really don't need mana on this build. It's not necessary as long as you're having an Azure Lichstone. So alternative will be Archdruid, but Endless Study is better. For helmet, Queen's Protector Crown is still best in slot. This one is a little grindy, however, if you grind this one when you're higher level and you just go in Act 1, you exterminate camps of bandits during the day and then you just wait at night and kill the shadows, you get Eternal Cobwebs pretty fast. So if you don't want to farm for this item, well, then you use Crow by putting some points in Dexterity. You get this one from doing the Children of Morrigan questline that starts here. The helmet specifically, you will get it regardless if you side with Vidar or against him. For boots, we're gonna use Crystal Walker. I want to have critical chance on this build for stamina regeneration and, of course, life leech. Crystal Walker is from Act 3. For pants, I still use Crystal Walker. We really don't need that much mobility when we are a pseudo range build anyway. For rings, I used the spell power rings from Act 3, and of course Swordsman Amulet, and of course our back item Winged Cavalier Backplate, which is crafted. You need to do a couple of quests for the NPC located here in Act 3. It's super easy to craft, mobs are plentiful, don't worry about it. In alternative, you can use, of course, the Ashen Veil Cloak, which is also good, from Act 3. If you want to know what I used during leveling, well, I have the leveling section for that. I will literally show you what I used. So there are also, of course, other options that you can use for this build as well. But I feel this is the typical cookie cutter hybrid setup. Very easy to make, very easy to understand. Okay, let's look at our attributes. Minimum requirement for this build are the following: 13 strength, not less, or you cannot equip last chest, 15 endurance for crystal walker items, 3 dexterity is the minimum requirement that you need to use Tidepiercer. Spirituality, you need at least 13 points. You can go upward to 20 if you want. Of course, doing this will give you more spell power, especially if you're playing with Crucible Wand. No points in practicality. If you want to put points in practicality, you will have to remove them from perception. Yes, you can do it, absolutely. If you ask me at what limit, I would still advise you to get at least 6 points in perception, because that is the points that you need to be able to use Winged Back Cavalier. Now let me pop an Origin Potion and I will allocate points based on leveling. Okay, we're gonna start out with 2 points in Strength and 2 points in Dexterity, because Spear of Ancient Hero, which is an amazing early leveling weapon that you should use absolutely. Then we're gonna go with 3 and 3 and 2, and now you can use the Molten Lightning Gloves that I used. Of course, this is my suggestion. You can use whatever you want. Still advise you to get 6 Strength and 6 Endurance, so you can use most of the melee armors. You can use the crafted one, Festering, which is good. I used pieces of the Festering set. You can craft Revenant chest is particularly good. You can use Knight and Dual Knight. Just try to not go too heavy weight-wise. You'll be sitting duck and then the enemy can kill you because you are too fat. Then 5 points in Spirituality, so you can use Tidepiercer. Then we finish pumping up Strength and Endurance. If you're using items like the Crow set, Hatchling, Fledgling, then you will need to meet those requirements. Then we go 15 Endurance, 13 Strength. I would hold off on points in Spirituality until you have your X-Grip, rest in Perception or Spirituality, or split them in Practicality as you want. Okay, let's look at the perks based on leveling. Here is my suggestion. We're gonna start in Practicality, 3 points in Exploitation Affliction. This one is especially good. There are several ways to proc this, either with a status effect, with a Bleed Relic, or a Blood Ring. But with Spear of Ancient Hero in Act 1, this one is gonna be up on 99% of the enemies. We go in Strength, 1 point in Godly Physique, Weapon of the Great Heft, Max Agile Fighter, Max Unending Assault, Max Ambidextrous. Go in Practicality, get Inner Strength, Max Powerful Blows, get Executioner, 1 point in Extra Lucky, 1 point in Critical Cascade, Strikes of Lux maxed. Once you lock Red Death in Act 2, Plague Warden maxed, this is regardless. 1 point in Unstoppable Momentum, Invigorating Dance. If you're using Fist of Strain, these points are optional. I still did put them during leveling because those are quite useful perks for sustain. How useful they are also will depend on the gear that you're using during leveling, of course. If you're using 2 weapons of different type, put adaptive, otherwise symmetrical. Choice is up to you here. If you want another defensive layer, you can put agility, fast reflexes, and temporal sleep. Temporal sleep will proc as usual. You start to sprint in combat, you crouch, you slow time like you were using the King's Power. The difference is that this has no cooldown, it's extremely powerful. Kinda makes the game a little easier, but choice is up to you. 1 point in Strong Arm Weapon Master, 3 points in Marksman. Marksman is a universal damage increase, is not limited to bow. So for us, that we are technically a hybrid build, it's good for us. Once we are using X-Grip, it's time to take these nodes. Arcane Teaching, maxed. Mana Battery, Power in Swiftness. Arcane Conduit, Imperception. Respite in Cruelty, only 1, we don't need more here. Critical Aegis, amazing mitigation. Bloodthirst, perfect. Extra Lucky, and then go for the eyes. And this is my overall suggestion. If you have extra points, you can get Deep Wounds from here, so you can free up a relic in your weapon. You don't need anything else to proc bleed except your crits. Want extra speed? Swift and Fierce is there for you. Max go for the eyes, max Godly Physique, you can get more health, you can get more armor, you can go for the best offense. You can even put points in the Red Death tree for extra damage. These are my suggestions. Okay, points for the Sarras tree. Extremely simple. Forget Warrior, forget Rogue, we play Mystic. Mana Spring. Recovery. Arcane Smite is the most important one. I don't care if you only get 3 shrines in Sarras, this is the one you care about. Rest is fully optional. Relic Hunter, put any relic, doesn't matter. When you put a relic in your gear, you want to cycle through your active tree to update it, because it will not update automatically for some reason. And then last point, Battle Mage. Okay, leveling section. In the description you'll find a link that has the location of all the bonus items consumable that will give you permanent bonus attributes. In this section I will show you some of them, but there are a lot optional ones that you can get to become even stronger. For life path you can choose literally what you want. That one is not as important. We are however gonna start out by using blood transfusion as our tutorial spell. Don't forget to get a potion of origin. Kill the optional barbarian if you want, the armor is decent and it will give you a little bit more XP. Let's jump down. Trade one healing potion with the lady for a mana ring.
It's still, they wouldn't be.
Kill the pugilist for the stamina ring that he drops. Kill the wailing effigy as well. Now you want to pull Karadok to the border of the tunnel. You don't want him to be too far, otherwise he will switch to bow, and be careful with spells of course, just in case. Do not let those stacks of bleed fall off as well, and it's gonna be easy overall. These will give you a little bit more of gear that you can sell, and of course extra XP.
Face me. Let's see who's the stronger one. I don't back down.
After the tutorial we can get a short sword from a crate, that is kinda decent. Get a cooking recipe and a tag. Go down to the small island where the Lancelot tomb is and buy the deer antler.
Done already.
Redeem those antlers for some extra bonus movement speed from the shrine. Let's get our first early weapon, the Spear of Ancient Hero, amazing leveling weapon, really strong. Don't get killed by the ogre. Then you want to keep running down and we want to get our first pair of gloves, the Molten Lightning. Low requirement and it's good to lower our stamina cost. In the small abandoned village, don't get killed by the redcaps. You want to loot some things here. First of all, a small stamina relic, which is good. And then a tag from the Fallen Keeper in the outer hut. Do all the druid shrines, they will provide permanent bonuses, and more importantly, if you do all the shrines of a region, you get another bonus. The last shrines in Act 3 will give you 10% critical chance, so do not miss on those. Get another stamina ring before leaving the shore. Here you can get a Starborn Egg Relic and also a +2 Short Sword, both good for leveling. Here you can get a Weapon Relic for extra physical damage, which is good at the start of the game. Underneath the keep you can get another tag from a Fallen Keeper. Do the quest for the guard on the ramparts. It will teach you how to make a back item that will give you an extra dodge. Just be careful if you slot in relics in that crafted item and then you go and turn the quest, you will lose the relics and the items. So in the tower next to the Hunter's Camp, you can loot another armor relic, this one for reduced stamina cost. Don't forget to grab the life recovery relic above the sunken village. But more importantly, don't forget to slot in those relics. In the north of the map, we can get a small HP amulet, kinda decent, especially for early levels that you can get. You can get an extra decent starting weapon in the middle of the lake, located here. However, if you kill a bandit and you drop a worn war pick, that one is also very good, and with low requirements to use. Don't forget to get the blood ring by doing the small jumping puzzle where the ruins are located. Get the free perception book inside the crypt. Inside the crypt, you can also climb where this rock is located. You can get another keeper tag. Once you lock the camp where the barbarians are, in the Old Mother Temple, go and buy a Crimson Shard relic from Mugwe for extra bleed, and more importantly, the Pilgrim Crushed Bone for another bonus attribute point. It's time to get Tidepiercer. The location is in a cave underneath the Old Mother Temple next to the sea. You can just swim there. You can kill this enemy at any time. The easiest way to kill it is with blood transfusion using the rock to hide. Or if you have enough damage, you can just kill it in melee. Just be careful because in veteran this guy hits really hard. And I mean it. Before leaving Act 1, don't forget to do the Bear Shrine for extra physical damage, located here. Now, before you leave Act 2, use the south entrance, not the north one, because the south entrance is easier, less dangerous mobs there. Now it's time to grab an Azure Lichstone, located here. And then do the quest to get the Sunsword. The mini boss of the quest is really not that hard, but the Fae inside can be annoying, depending on your level.
It just some. And I think the.
Another gift. As you. You.
You can get another Azure Lichstone located here. There is of course another one that you can find in the Abyss, but I didn't grab that one. 2 is enough. Don't forget to buy the bonus attribute and skill points from Bonksy and Filth, both located in Act 2 here. Just make sure that you have enough money to do it, however. Bonksy also sells some good relics, a Starborn Eggs, extra health relic, and a spell power relic as well.
And you can choose. Oh.
Grab the Swordsman Amulet. If you're afraid of the bandits, you can even run in and just avoid them, you know. But that should not be a problem. There is also another weapon that you can collect for leveling, the Shard of Fallen Sky, which has a very high base damage and it's kinda decent for leveling. Do the Red Death questline that starts in the hospital from this NPC.
You're going to feel.
In the tool house while you're going there for the Red Death quest, be careful because the mobs are annoying and they hit hard in Veteran. Talk to the totem and trade some life for some permanent points, which is always good. Once you finish Act 2, it's time to get our X grip and the other stuff that you can find here.
If you're seeing this message, my king. My king.
Same, of course, for the last chest. You want to do a small mini dungeon that really doesn't have that many enemy. And just avoid the traps and be careful to not fall. That would be my main advice. Like, it's really not that complicated. In Act 3 we can get another bonus point by talking with the weird dude that likes rocks a lot. Just indulge his insanity and it will give you a prize.
Here, fair.
Time to get the Crystal Walker set. Be careful because this instance, the mobs are really super incredibly annoying and they hit hard. The mini boss, however, is a joke. That one is really not a problem.
Did you hear something? Oh, well, it's ours. Your gold belongs to us.
In the Swain village, we want to talk with the woman for a free relic by choosing the right option. Every option is a different relic, so if you want another type of relic, well, your choice.
What? Then. Not.
Let's do the quest for Winged Back Cavalier set from this guy. If you have okay stats and you have decent crit, you can now deal all the damage of the flash tree even in veteran, so don't worry. Before going back, just roam around and kill some more trees because the next step of the quest is literally the guy wants to have more resin. Plus you need the same materials to craft the item anyway.
You oh, play it. Leon thank me.
Do all the druid shrines. This is the final rewards that you get from doing all of them, which is very sweet. Let's get Fist of Strain relic. Location is here. Not really that hard, you can do this immediately in Act 3 if you want. But if your crit is bad, the relic is kinda useless. So choice is up to you. Really amazing quality of life though, one of the best relic in the game for melee. Now it's time to farm a lot of Eternal Cobwebs if you want the Queen's Protector Crown. Just go in Act 1 or lower difficulty to story, so you can do this everywhere, I guess. I'm doing it in Veteran, of course. You want to kill stuff during the day, then you wait for night. These mobs will appear and then you can kill them. They will drop a lot of Eternal Cobwebs. Once you have 1800 Cobwebs, it's time to do the quest. Talk with Brock, he will send you to kill a couple of bees there, a little ahead. After you kill them, you meet the guy and then you want to become a bee simp. By the way, a small fun fact about the owner of this YouTube channel. I really liked the bee movie when I was younger, I guess. Now this woman is really thirsty, so this is why this is quite grindy. For Fall of Avalon, of course, levels, if you played any MMO, this is really not that much of a big deal.
What? Such. With the time, can you
Okay, lastly, you want to do the Bear Shrine for extra HP. And that's it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and maybe even subscribing for more gaming content of questionable quality. If you have any question or doubts, let me know in the comments below. I'll try my best to come back at you in a reasonable time, unless I'm sleeping, of course. Have fun playing Fall of Avalon, and I will see you in the next video, maybe.